fighting. That's what I really want, something that will really last for real, for real. Once so many times I've loved, I found no one like you. I felt no one like you. Once so many times I've loved, I found no one like you. I felt no one like you till I found you. Till I found you.
You make me happy, you make me smile. Like you are lie, you make me mushy. So many times I die inside. How can I run from such a feeling? I'd be crazy leaving. You're such a blessing, you give me so much light. A gift that keeps on giving, I need, I can't deny. How can I run from such a feeling? I'd be crazy leaving. Natamani jua na mvua, natamani sisi kuruka. I wanna feel your tender love and call me baby when we're fighting. That's what I really want, something that will really last for real, for real. Once so many times I've loved, I found no one like you. I felt no one like you. Once so many times I've loved, I felt no one like you. I found no one like you till I found you. Till I found you. Till I found.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night.
Pawa Radio.
Full of 100, full of 100. We keep it full of 100, full of 100.
Drama.
Nipate kwa base, yeah. Hizo ni chwani mbili. Nipate na gang gang. Hizo ni chwani mbili. Popote pale utanipata. Hizo ni chwani mbili. I keep it 100. Hizo ni chwani mbili. I keep it 100. Full of 100. Keep it 100. Full of 100. Keep it 100. Full of 100. Keep it 100. We full of 100. Wati wanadai ni choche ati ni popo nione na sina eni mfuke mebaki kirai. Miaka ni 6 kwa game, bili ni solo, bado na build, bado na piga uradi mpaka imboka ijipe. Nilichagua kalamu, kuna mabeso alichagua ndenga. Mina tokoti si boys lakini gotea huo manzu kimona. Vijana na genya, kufuata lefe madranya, kufuata lefe ya nasa. Hakuna papa, saini fame na do, kuhang na squad, kubanja na hozi. Mani wanaichorea, daily IG wana abudu celeb. Base, yeah, hizo ni chwani mbili. Nipate na gang gang, hizo ni chwani mbili. Popote pale utanipata, hizo ni chwani mbili. I keep it 100, hizo ni chwani mbili. I keep it 100, full of 100. Keep it 100, full of 100. Keep it 100, full of 100. Keep it 100, we full of 100. Nilijituma sacrifice ke Roma, kuna madeni lifunga pia huduma, kuna madeni lienda na ndani sikuwa fiti, beef na marapa ni mboga, mi hujibonda, hakuna time ya kubonga, weka imani songa, jenga yo ark, Noah, hii ni noma, noma ni niliokoka na mi keep it 100, keep it 100, noma ni mimi na Mungu tuko fiti na uwezi ni chocha, noma ni mimi najua imani yangu na hizi chocha, noma ni ati yao ni ita sana, hiyo ni noma, nipate kwa base, yeah, hizo ni chwani mbili, nipate na gang gang, hizo ni chwani mbili, popote pale utanipata, hizo ni chwani mbili, I keep it 100, hizo ni chwani mbili, I keep it 100, full of 100, keep it 100. nice it up. All of the youth, them nice it up. Nice it up. All the people, nice it up. Nice it up. We have to nice it up. Nice it up. Yes, we have to nice it up. Nice it up. The youth, them nice it up. Nice it up. The man, them nice it up. The yanks, nice it up. Yeah.
Full of hundred. We keep it full of hundred. Full of hundred.
Yes, man, we are.
Full of hundred. Full of hundred. We keep it full of hundred. Full of hundred.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is the one, the only Miss Caroline Murote, and this is Sheversations right here on Power Radio, where you tune in and power up. The time is 7 minutes past 11, and you have just listened to 100 by Mohanji, and right before that, Ochiko and Kinoti were letting us know that they would like to have a girl just like you. Has a man ever told you that anakupenda, and he was convincing you with every reason possible, everything you've ever wanted to hear? Amekwambia. Every item on your list he's ticked, only for you to find out a couple months later that he's telling 6 other women and their sisters and their mothers the same thing. That's what's going on. So please don't be kunabaridi. Don't allow yourself to be bamboozled by guys out here. Please do not. Or by girls. Like if that's your thing, do not allow yourself to be lied to. You know, if people want to be weird and do friends with benefits, just be honest about that. Like in Usiambiwe, that you're the center of my world. You're everything. You're the milk in my coffee. And this guy is lactose intolerant. As in, don't do that. Don't be a fool. So right here on Sheversations, we are about to have an interesting show. So this is Katiba Week. What does this mean? It means that it's been 14 years. It's been a while. There is a teenage child right now that is thinking, breathing, and making independent decisions. Well, as independent as 14 gets. Since the Katiba was introduced. So I just wanted to know what you guys think about the Katiba. We're gonna dive into that a little bit later on, but right now we're just vibing, and I just wanted to say, hey, hello. We're coming from the weekend. How has your weekend been? You know, I've been hearing that you wengine mnafagia huko nje, in the sense that you're not working for city council, lakini mnaingia club and then mnatoka na mawochi, as if you guys have investments in these places. So can we please try and do better? Can we actually have a sense of home? Like watu waende nyumbani. Like there's no reason why you should be showing up at work Monday morning as if you're homeless. Do you understand? And power to the homeless people. But if you're not one of those and you're actually empowered enough to have a shelter and a roof over your head, can you please like mwache kufagia Nairobi? Because some of you guys ni kama mkona investments in some of these clubs, and honestly hii baridi ni kama ni juu ya dhambi, honestly. So those of you that went to church over the weekend, when you go to church next weekend, please muombe Nairobi. And speaking of Nairobi, you guys are messing up so much that Apostle Paul pale kwa Instagram has written a letter to Nairobi, and you're gonna see this if you go to Mike Musher's page. So Apostle Paul has written a letter to Nairobi saying that enyewe dhambi zenu zinashangaza. There's so much going on. There's so much happening. And I'm convinced that if just a quarter of us repent, hii baridi inaenda. Because tell me why the whole of August has been weird. July. We didn't notice in June because we were fighting for our rights and eating tear gas. But I believe that if we do better, labda the weather will change. So nishawambia, the weather changing is up to you. So nyinyi wasi wa kufagia Nairobi, could you please do better? Like your levels of cleanliness, let them be limited in your houses, you know, kusafisha rada and everything, not kufagia the town. Don't be like city council workers. Early in the morning, mnaingia, mnatoka na mawochi. do better. Do better. So before we go on, I'll just like for us to listen to No Place Like Home, and this is by Kahuna. So this is Power Radio.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Ringing of the bells.
I know of a place nikienda, they'll have to take me in. Nikikuja si lazima nitasema, cause I know where they hide the key. Drunk or naked, I haven't been around in ages. But when I return, like a prodigal son, oh, I always find love. Nyumbani, ni pale, nakula nusu mkate. Sijali, who is judging, who is watching. Nyumbani, ni pale, nakula nusu mkate. Sijali, who is judging, who is watching. And I've been to the east, been to the west, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Been to the east, been to the west, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Nikitoka shuleni nilikuwa nakuja napata maziwa. Kisha na keti miguu kwenye meza na washa runinga. I'd give anything just to feel it again, even just for a day. I'd give it all away for the good old days. Nyumbani ni pale nakula nusu mkate. Sijali who is judging, who is watching. Nyumbani ni pale nakula nusu mkate. Sijali who is judging, who is watching. And I've been to the east, been to the west, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Been to the east, been to the west, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Kaskazini mashariki, kusini magharibi, mali ulipo ndo nipo, mali ulimo ndo nimo. Kaskazini mashariki, kusini magharibi, mali ulipo ndo nipo, mali ulimo ndo nimo. And I've been to the east, been to the west, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Been to the east, been to the west, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Nyumbani ni pale nakula nusu mkate. Sijali na sishtuki, juu mimi ni fundi.
I lost faith in finding me. I lost faith in finding meaning. Of all the songs I tried to sing, of all the songs I wrote to sing. Sometimes like to be so real, strangely heaven out of season. I don't believe in truth, but I do believe in you. Everything I do will be done from my heart, and every move I make will be made up of love. Everything I do will be done from my heart, and every move I make will be made up of love. sometimes life could be so real. Strangely heaven out of season. I don't believe in truth, but I do believe in you. Everything I do will be done from my heart, and every move I make will be made up of love. Everything I do will be done from my heart, and every move I make will be made up of love. Made up of made up of love, made up of love.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
It is 19 minutes past 11, and we have just listened to Motoria and Zenia Manase saying Made Up of Love. And right before that, Kahuna was saying that there is no place like home. And truly, truly, there is no place like home. Let me ask you guys. So this weekend, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I asked them what their dream car is. And they told me, I don't have a dream car because my aim is to have a dream garage where every single car I have ever wanted, I have a collection of them in my garage. And let me tell you, was I not inspired? And I felt like I need to be dreaming bigger because I'm just like, okay, maybe if I save quickly enough, I might be able to get myself a cute little Nissan Juke, because as much as you guys, the Kenyans on Twitter, will not let the chura breathe, truly that I think that car is cute. And I think it's relative. I just look at it and I'm just like, wow, literally every single time I see a Nissan Juke, I'm just like, this is such a beautiful car. Like, I don't care what anybody on the internet has to say. You can come for me, you can drag me, but one of those days y'all are going to be seeing me in a Nissan Juke. But that guy who told me that he has a dream garage really, really inspired me. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are we actually doing to make our dreams come true? What are we actually what are we doing? Because you see, we see the American people with a white picket fence, the two kids, boy and girl, perfect marriage for those that want that for themselves. That is the perfect dream. So is there a perfect Kenyan dream? Is there, what do most Kenyans want actually? Like, because obviously most of us want cars. I actually want a motorcycle because Nairobi, it's there's a lot going on there. The traffic is not an interesting situation. So I wanted to know, what are we actually doing to make our dreams happen other than wash? Because we've been seeing you. We've been seeing you. Another thing is that when I'm walking in town or just walking anywhere where there's people, or walking into a room where there's a lot of people, I normally have a theme song in my head. I don't know. Is it just me? Am I crazy? Am I living too much in on the inside of my head? And truly, the song that has been playing in my head ever since I got introduced to the song, which is just a couple of weeks ago, is Energy by Polaris and Muthoni Drama Queen. And I'm just like, no, actually don't mess with my energy. And it's that song, and there's the second verse really gets it. So I just want everybody to have a theme song. And I wish it could come on top of your head. Like when we're walking and passing each other, and then it comes with like a little music icon where you can see somebody's theme song. So every time you enter the room, you're entering with your theme song, and then we'll know what vibe you're coming. So nyinyi wenye mko na roho baridi, they say Nairobi women have very, like, this weather is like Nairobi women on the inside. This is what the inside of Nairobi women's hearts look like. So those of you who are like that, tusikize manyimbo zenu, we know to be afraid. When we're seeing our Kamba brothers and sisters entering with their colorful melodies. Tuaone, like we just know what you're about before you actually talk, like they do in the movies. Wouldn't that be cool? I feel like that would be the best time. That would be the best conversation or starter. Like, them song yako, it's giving villain, it's giving murderer, it's giving I'm here to take all your money. And I feel like that would be that's the kind of country I want to see truly. If we can't see equality, if we can't all be rich, if we can't all, go to church and pray against Dhambi, then on the flip side, that's what I really want to see. Like, if we can't have realistic things that are supposed to be idealistic, the ideal picture of what a good country needs to look like, then we might as well live a fictional life. And I feel like I would have the best time. Speaking of theme songs, nyimbo za matatu, guys, wasiwa matatu, like your playlists are stuck in the 2000s. And kusema ukweli, I can't blame you guys. Why? Because there is so much that happened after 2010 that just brought the decline of quality. There is music that sai ata ukiniambia this song is 15 years old, I'm like, how is this a throwback? Because in my head, throwback pertains to quality. Good old music before we started messing everything up, before sex and money was all that we sing about, and just, ego, and this rant could go on forever. But I just wanted to say to matatu drivers, guys, if you guys want an update, mlete izo maflash zenu, and then Power Radio has, we've got you. We've got. Come here and be inspired. Mskiza show zetu, and then you'll be inspired as to what playlist you should. Because I don't understand why I have listened to Nelly telling Kelly Rowland about the dilemma. I don't understand. Like, and in that video, she's typing on Excel. Like, when Atubeba Ufala, she's typing literally on the Excel spreadsheet. That is the text app that she's actually using. And I'm just like, why am I listening to this song every single week of my life when I enter matatu? Like, why are we stuck in the past? Like, if it's a throwback, let it be a throwback. But like, I don't need to be listening to Nelly every single day, every single week of my life. And so, Wasewa Matatu, if you guys want, Power Radio is your plug. And because that's how awesome we are, we're going to be listening to Sure Like This by Be The Artist and August IV.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Okay. Sure like this, never been sure like this about anything, yeah. Oh, Nico into deep, Nico into deep, I'm drowning in your love. Na, yeah. Eternity has never felt this possible in my life. Oh yeah. In you I see everything I wished for, baby. Everything I need and more. Everything I need and more. Sauti yako yapunguza pressure, tabia zako zanipendeza, na moyo wangu watulia nikikufikiria. Hey, and I can't wait for forever. Penzi unanitenda, and I love you, yeah. Ooh, unanitosha malaika. Ooh, unanitosha malaika. Hey, your smile, darling, brightens up my day. An extra mile, baby. I'll go an extra mile just to keep that smile alive. Yeah. Oh, you're a dream come true. Oh, you're a dream come true. I'd do anything for you. Oh. do. I hope you say it, boo, when I propose to you one day. Yeah, yeah. Juu sauti yako yapunguza presha, tabia zako zanipendeza, na moyo wangu watulia nikikufikiria. Hey. And I can't wait for forever, mpenzi unanitenda, and I love you, yeah. Ooh, unanitosha malaika. Ooh, unanitosha malaika. Unanitosha malaika. Unanitosha malaika. Sure like this, never been sure like this about anything, anything. B.
All day and your kind of music. All day, all night. Right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Already, so that was a Sure Like This by B, the artist, and August 4. And again, guys, I am just telling you that hibaridi isiwadanganye. Please enjoy yourselves responsibly, cuddle responsibly, keep yourselves warm responsibly, and preferably don't use another human being as a blanket. Do you understand? Because you have to ask yourself, especially as girl child, will this human cover you when you're 9 months pregnant, or when he's telling you to go and have an abortion that will probably affect you in different ways? You know, let's just say it's easy peasy. Y'all do the thing. You do, we said here, we're going to call it the boinky boinky. You guys, you do that. You engage, you know, you have a good time, or whatever average time you're going to have, you know, depending on how people want to perform. And then you just, you know, you're like fetus deleters, and then you have that abortion and you terminate that pregnancy. Do you think about those impacts? And they, you know, even if it's your choice, it's something that you actually have to go through. Like, it's literally not nothing. And a lot of women have those experiences that a lot of times they're not talked about. They're not talked about even what having a safe termination of pregnancy looks like, and the effects that it has on your mind and how you feel about yourself after that. So I just wanted to say that as guys are doing boinky boinky and y'all are using each other as human blankets, please be very careful that, you know, you don't add to the number if that is not your intention, right? So enjoy yourselves and keep warm responsibly, please. Please, 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 please. Now, last week, let me see what last week Monday was. The date last week Monday was the 19th. And around Tuesday, I believe it was Tuesday, I started seeing police humans everywhere. So you see those bright neon reflectors. And these guys, they don't waste time. They're like clockwork. And I'm just like, oh my God, wow. If I was new in this country, I would think, look at how interested they are in keeping our roads safe. Look at how committed they are to keeping order. But actually, no, it's just a bribe collection. It's just bribe collection for the next 2 weeks. And I normally know that it's payday or it's pay week or pay season when I start seeing policemen on the roads. And I just wonder if you know, most of us have never had the experience of seeing or going to a different country where you see how law enforcement works, even though I hear that in a lot of African countries the stories are quite similar. I feel like, I don't know if this is the image we want to have of our law enforcement, that I don't feel free to walk up to a law enforcement officer and say, hey, can you help me with XYZ? At some point I would. At some point, you know, let's say if I have a stolen item or I've been attacked, I would probably highly consider going to the police station or approaching a police officer. However, any other time of the day, I see them and I am thoroughly frustrated, because if you ever sit anywhere near the drivers, or particularly the makangas, the touts, the bus conductors, the matatu conductors, then you realize how much money is being exchanged. And I just ask myself, are the standards, the law enforcement standards in the transport industry, are they a scam? Are they not realistic at all? Like, are they not something achievable? Is there a time where we're going to see a bribe-free Kenya on our roads? So is it just not possible generally for all vehicles, all public service vehicles, leave alone the private ones? Is it not possible for every matatu to have a fire extinguisher, to have operational seatbelts, to have their reflectors, just everything it is that's supposed to be on the checklist, to the point where if this particular vehicle said, no, I'm not going to give you a bribe, there's nothing that you can put on the books for them. So even if they were taken forward, and a law enforcement officer accused them, then they have every means and all the evidence to defend themselves. And I'm just wondering if there's anybody who's interested in seeing that kind of a Kenya, because that's the kind of Kenya I want to see, where there's actually corruption-free roads. Because at this point, as long as I have a 2K somewhere, I know that my car can be in the worst condition. So at the end of the day, what this system does is encourage and just it creates a culture of being extremely unsafe on the roads. Because the reason why I might have extra money as a Kenyan, it's because I know that I'm gonna meet a policeman. So at no point am I trying to save up for an extra tire, to fix my reflectors, my whatever it is that I'm supposed to be having to meet the standards. And I just think that it's ridiculous, but it's the norm. It's literally what we know, to the point where some people don't understand that bribing is illegal. They don't understand that it's not okay, and that's not what it looks like when we have proper systems in place. And if these are even as we approach the conversation towards, just in this Katiba week, as we reflect on what does it mean to be a democracy, what does it look like when we say that we're a constitutional country, where the law is actually being implemented through the different policies, the different departments, the different stakeholders? What does it actually mean to have a proper working law enforcement system? And that's just one of my dreams as a young Kenyan. And I hope that the rest of you guys, wherever it is that you're watching from, have the same dreams. What kind of Kenya do you want to see? What kind of Kenya, what would you change if you woke up one day and you could snap your fingers and it's a system that's already in place? There's already documentation, there are already policies, there are already systems, there's already stakeholders, people that have been employed, most likely, from taxpayer funds, to do certain work. What difference would you want to see? And do you have an example on where Kenya can benchmark? So even if, to say, we have a system on paper, theoretically, this already is structured. And if everybody woke up one day and decided to follow this would be a perfect country. Leave that alone. So even if that's perfect on paper, now to deal with the corruption on the ground, do you have a system in mind, a country, a state, a situation where they actually fought against corruption that was just ripe in the country or in that particular context? And, it was actually a winning outcome. So if you have that, let us know. You can find us on social media at Power Radio, on Instagram, on Twitter. We are on TikTok. And also this is coming to you on YouTube as well as on our website. So if you're watching this, you're listening, that's probably where you're tuned in. I am your girl, Caroline Murote. This is Sheversations. The time is 22 minutes to 12. So we are approaching our conversation where we're going to be reflecting on our 2/3 gender role. And right before we do that, we're going to listen to Nikosawa by We Are Nubia.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
usicomplicate mambo, weka feelings zako kando. Tulifanya hivyo jana, hakuna kitu tuliagana. Hizi ni gani umeanza, unanihanda, unanipata. Nilidhania twajibamba, hisia zako zikakupanda. Ole, ole wako, kupendana na wewe hiyo vako. Weni sample, ligi yangu haufiki bado. Kila mtu na wake, niko sawa kivyangu. Kila mtu na wake, niko sawa kivyangu. Niko sawa, singola niko sawa, niko sawa, singola niko sawa, niko sawa, singola niko sawa, niko sawa, singola niko sawa kivyangu. Moyo wangu uliugua sana, mapenzi kanitesa. Nikaamua nijipende kwanza, nijitilie pamba, kucha kwa mkono na miguu, tia marashi jipeleke pati. Hii Februari sina mtu, sipati maua, sipati kitu. Pole pole kwako, najipenda na kuweka kando. Weni sample, ligi yangu hujafika bado. Kila mtu na wake, mimi niko sawa kivyangu. Kila mtu na wake, mimi niko sawa kivyangu. Niko sawa, single na niko sawa, niko sawa, single na niko sawa, niko sawa, single na niko sawa, niko sawa.
From sunrise to sunset.
This will be the last time tunaishi hivi. And this will be the last time unaniacha kijijini. Kesho naenda kwenye stage, nakata tikiti ya kuja Nairobi. Kesho naenda kwenye stage, nakata tikiti ya kuja Nairobi. Mimi ni yule uliyependa yule toka siku za kale. Mimi ni yule uliyependa yule toka siku za kale. Tulipatana pale kanisani pale, nikaanza kuhadithi. Tulipatana pale kanisani pale, nikaanza kuhadithi.
And this will be the first time nakwambia ukweli. And this will be the first time nakwambia ukweli. You see, when I went into the city, there were many busy bodies because I'm ndani. You see, when I went into the city, there were many busy bodies because I'm ndani. kesho naenda kwenye stage, nakata tikiti, narudi nyumbani. Oh, naenda kwenye stage, nakata tikiti, nakuja nyumbani. Mimi ni yule uliyependa yule toka siku za kale. Mimi ni yule uliyependa yule toka siku za kale. Tulipatana pale kanisani pale, nikaanza kuwadizi. Tulipatana pale kanisani pale, nikaanza kuwadizi. You got me round and round and round, falling for you, falling for you. You got me round and round and round, falling for you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Said I'm falling for you. Falling for you, my baby, you. I said I'm falling, yeah.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
All right, so that was Kuyu and Wambura Mogo saying Dizzy. And I just want to ask those human beings, apparently our watu walikatiana in church. So like, did you leave room for the Holy Spirit? You know, did it end up in holy matrimony? Ama mlianza kanisa and then you hijacked the movement and, you know, stopped giving God all the glory. So guys, fix your lives. You know, if you're a friend of a friend to Kuyu and Wambura Mogo, tell them to fix their lives. But here on Power Radio, we love the music. Like, you guys are doing well. And right now at 11:46, I want to tell you guys what's happening. So what's happening is that every single week, I noticed the most interesting responses to cross-dressing. And cross-dressing, if you're not aware, is when somebody, you know, let's say I am a woman here, you know, I'm a woman, and then I decide to dress up like a man and vice versa. And particularly when it comes to cross-dressing, a lot of interest is given when men exhibit, you know, just feminine dressing or just feminine traits and just present themselves in feminine ways. So it isn't very shocking to society, apparently, based on what I've been seeing. I might be wrong, but it doesn't seem shocking when a woman dresses up like a man. Seems to be acceptable. However, as a man, do not dare. So one of my favorite content creators, Rick's Poet, over there on Instagram, and this is the same thing you see on his Facebook most times, you know, it's just chilling. And, you know, the caption on that post, and I'm going to describe what's going on in the post, is I wore her lingerie. And so this post is basically him dressing in a, what do you call this thing? The night dress. Basically, I guess, yes, it is lingerie. So it's supposed to be, you know, before people do the boinky boinky or whatever it is that y'all are using lingerie for. It's 2024. And anytime anybody decides that something is for this particular purpose, there's a whole community that comes out and fights and says, no, don't limit us. What? So I'm just saying. So apparently lingerie is supposed to be for boinky boinky activity. And you have this man who's a male presenting and he dresses himself in her lingerie and puts that caption. And that is enough every single time to trigger all of the men on the post. And to me, that is the most entertaining thing, because you see this man who's genuinely having fun on the internet, genuinely just enjoying himself on the internet, like having the time of his life. And clearly, if he bought that, if it's clout and he just bought it for the post, that is content creation and it's allowed, or if it actually belongs to an actual woman in his life, either way, he's clearly having a great time trolling the internet. And the deeper conversation here is, what conversations are we having on how to express masculinity and what masculinity actually looks like in 2024? Have we actually progressed in how we view masculinity? Is masculinity black and white? Or are there different ways to express yourself as a man? Are there things that now once you start doing this, you're like, that's kind of gay, and we have no issue with that, but I'm just asking especially for what do you call them, for hetero men, for straight men, what is masculinity to you? So if you see a fellow man on social media in lingerie, what does that tell you? What does that communicate? Especially if he's clearly just trolling, because we also have content creators like Crazy Kenna who cross dress. He's always in the dresses. We have Mike Mshiri. We have there's so much cross dressing going on, and then we have the likes of Awinja and Mamito, who also cross-dress whenever they want to make a point, and it's for content creation. So why is it that when somebody is presenting a more natural situation, still for content creation, or also just having a good time with a camera in front of their face, why does that conversation become hostile? And I'd love to hear you chiming in, especially if you are a straight man. And even if you're not, actually, I'd love to understand what that's about. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion. But while we're still reflecting on that, we are going to hear from Nina Ogot Ta, and it's almost time for us to reflect on the 2/3 gender rule. So let me know what you think on all our platforms at Power Radio. This is Sheversations.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station. Power.
nakupenda wewe mama wewe nita ya Kenya nasherekea na furahia nakupenda sisi sote sisi nita ya Kenya tusherekee tufurahie tujipende
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
So that was Nina Ogot, and she was saying you, Wenita, Minita, Sisiwate, we are the light, literally. So you be the difference that you want to see. Similarly to what the legendary Michael Jackson said, that, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to make the change, to be the change. I'm obviously paraphrasing. I'm terrible with lyrics. Have you ever found yourself in this situation where you are convinced you know the lyrics, and then when you're today years old, you realize that you've been singing the wrong lyrics for the past 2 decades? Like, that's honestly the best part of singing these things, is making up stuff as we go and creating rumors. So what's happening, what's going on out there is that you guys are not covering yourselves on these motorcycles. This season is interestingly cold, and homa inakam, at the rate of blinking. Like, you blink and the human next to you has a cold. And what I don't understand particularly is, why would you be on a motorcycle? Why would you be on a motorcycle and you're not covered? Or is it me who gets an immediate cold if I expose my chest to that level of... Like, I don't understand, especially ladies. What is going on? Like, can we just get scarves and cover our heads? Because it doesn't make sense to be wondering, Bona tukona homa, now you're having a bad week, you're having a bad day because you have the sniffles, your chest is congested, now you need to get cough syrup, you need to go and drink dawa concoctions, you need to go to your local mganga and ask them to save your life, or, you need to go to Jesus and say, yo, can you help? I don't understand why, when we could just cover ourselves. And I think it's a very interesting culture, because I talked about this last week, where you see ladies walking and they're not wearing, they're not covered up, they're not in stockings, they're not in leggings. And I think, I might get a PhD, because the amount of research I've been doing just from observing, an observer's, I'm trying to remember what I was taught in school. It's called, non-participatory research. When you observe, when you use observation as a method of doing your research, so you just sit within the field, just the scope of who or where you're studying, and then you just make notes without participating, but you're within that environment. And I think I have enough opinions, I have seen enough in this city, because I'm just baffled. So maybe people are not affected by the cold. I wish that was the case, because everybody is saying how they have flu because kuna baridi. Yet, people are not dressed for the cold. People are not taking care of themselves. Like, y'all are hopping on bikes. You're not covered up. Your chests are not covered up. Your faces are not covered up. Your heads are not covered up. And it truly does not make any sense to me. And this might just be a rant, but if you can cover yourself, please do, because otherwise I don't get it. But we'll see next week. We'll see what my findings have. And then we're going to make a conclusion as to what is wrong with Nairobians. What is wrong with Nairobians? What is actually going on in our heads? Because why are we actually planning to get flu? And if you went through this Kenyan system, then you know that failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you don't want to get the cold and you left your house knowing that it's a cold season, and you didn't carry something to cover up, then you're planning to fail. Like, you're literally planning to get Homa because you've done nothing to fight against it. And I could go on and on, invent, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to keep you guys warm with the sound of B, the artist, August 4 and Sunset, and they are saying Nyota.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Okay. Kako ready, minko ready, pole pole steady, hiyo ndio pace. Na kwani ushachoka already, unaona janta haiwezi make. Don't let that smile fade away, it's not every day that things go your way. Na kuteseka ni kwa muda tu, I believe in you, cause you know lesser, you matter. Don't let them define who you are. You got so much to live for, yeah. So much to give, oh yeah. Usijali, uko vale. Jiamini baba, wendo stop. Usiwari, pole pole kuna hari. Oh, you're special, wendo stop. Weni nyota, weni nyota, weni nyota, yeah, yeah, yeah. Weni nyota, weni nyota, weni nyota, yeah, yeah, yeah. Weni nyota, weni nyota, weni nyota, yeah, yeah. Weni nyota, weni nyota, weni nyota, yeah.
It's a different kind of world that we're living in. We all living in a life of sin. That's probably why I never try to win. Struggling to find out what the word love means. That's why I'm gonna be a shoulder to lean on. When all seems lost, when it all seems wrong. When you're found hiding and your cover's been blown. Look across the room, you're my brother, people. I know a lot of stories that you've probably been told. I'm gonna be your warmth when you start to feel cold. Hurts deep inside, all the way to your core. That's when you get stuck, whole world says no.
Cause you know lesser, you matter. Don't let them define who you are. You got so much to live for, yeah. So much to give, oh yeah. Usijali, uko vale. Jiamini baba, wendo stop. Usiwari, pole pole kuna hari. Oh, you're special, wendo stop. Weni nyota, weni nyota, weni nyota, yeah, yeah. 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 Wendo star, wendo star. Wendo star, wendo star.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station.
Tumechoka. Mimi naangaliaga TV.
Unaona habari, unaona hao wamezicheza.
Tuwe mawe ni konge lakini ni mita.
Roundy, utajua haujui. Hatuweki mafala. Pesa nitakula na sitaleta kurahi. Wakifunga nyumba ulikuwa runda we. Hatuweki mafala. Haujali about me. Nasikia una benki Maldives. Kiji nyumba kina cheki palm trees. Ikinuka utaruka kambi. Sina karo, sina food, sina kodi. Na nina BBI, kuna COVID. Miss me na stories za BBI. Wanasema tunavuta bangi, lakini cheki zinashika nani. Wananchi wanawika haki, huku tenda zikipita kati. Sitakuvotia we, ukabila ndiyo policy. Kama bia ndiyo policy, kaka mia ndiyo policy. Sitakuvotia we, kabila ndiyo policy, kama bia ndiyo policy, kakamia ndiyo policy, mafala. So pesa nitakula, sitaleta kura, nikishindo na rent, ulikuwa Karen, hatuweki mafala. Hawajali about you, nasikia wana mali offshores, mandege na mameli lonos, wakidedi watasare others, magazeti walihonga of course, kwenye tali niki 30 man. Someone tell me where we headed now. Wanasema tunavuta bangi, lakini cheki zinashika nani? Wananchi wanawika haki, kutenda zikipita kati. Sitakuvotia wewe, ukabila ndiyo policy, kama bia ndiyo policy, kakamia ndiyo policy. Sitakuvotia wewe, ukabila ndiyo policy, kama bia ndiyo policy, kakamia ndiyo policy, mafala. Roundy, utajua how do we.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
So that was a policy. That was policy, and that was a flyer. So what are we doing right now? It is 6 minutes past 12, and this is Katiba Week. We are discussing the 2/3 gender role here on Sheversations, brought to you by myself, Caroline Murote, Miss Murote, if you will. On our hashtags, we have hashtag Sheversations with Miss Murote, Sheversations, and tune in, power up. So those are hashtags across social media, and would love for you to chime in. So what is going on? So this week, as Kenyans, we are having a look back at what has been happening with the Constitution. So this is Katiba Week, meaning that we are holding account the Constitution of Kenya and seeing how well we are implementing it, to see how much of a democracy we are, how well these things are being implemented, and has it been a success so far. So also to see, are there things that need to be done, are there policies that needs to be created, are there policies that need to be removed completely. And anybody who's interested, and everybody should, as long as you belong to this country or as long as you're within the borders of this country, you should be interested. So here on Sheversations today, what we are doing is that we are educating ourselves, right? And as I have said several times, we are reflecting. We are having a look at the 2/3 gender role. So before we look into that specifically, we would need to look at what framework it falls under. So what is happening with the 2/3 gender role is something called affirmative action. Now, if I look at my good friend here, Google, it says that the principle of affirmative action is to promote societal equality through the preferential treatment of social, economically disadvantaged people. Often, these people are disadvantaged for historical reasons such as oppression or slavery. Now, if we're familiar with our Kenyan history, we know you don't even need to have statistics. You just need to sit down and remember. Just remember the historical figures. Just remember your freedom fighters. Remember how many times you say Tom Mboya. Remember how many times you say, Jomo Kenyatta. And how many women you have right next to those names. Do you understand? I'm going to give you another example that has nothing to do with politics. How many sports stars that have gold medals have made Kenya famous? And I promise you, if we can put a timer and have 10 people here, most of them are very likely to say David Rudisha. We are likely to say male names, our fades, and all those lovely girlies who have been representing us are not gonna show up first. Why? Because of representation. Because there is a certain culture, the patriarchy, if you will, that has taken preeminence, that has given precedence to how these conversations are had, to mean that if there have been women players across history in different contexts, then they're not represented. The platforms of this information getting out there, they just don't exist, or they're not effective. So the reason why affirmative action exists, and as we have seen here, it is a principle. So this is a mechanism that has been put in place to balance out things that are not balanced. So if you realize that in a society there are different players, and all these players are not having their voices represented equally or effectively, sometimes it's not necessarily equality but equity, depending on what systems you're using to measure the ideal in that particular society. So if you find that there is underrepresentation, then this is where affirmative action comes in. Our question of the day here on today's show on Sheversations is affirmative action relevant? So you've understood what affirmative action is. I'm just going to repeat it, you just for somebody who's joining us right now, or somebody who's just now starting to understand what affirmative action is. It is the principle that promotes societal equality through the preferential treatment of social economically disadvantaged people. So we are intentionally giving preferential treatment. So there has to be an acknowledgement that there is inequality. There has to be an acknowledgement that the scales are not balanced and that this is not the ideal that we want to see. And as a result, now we are going to put more on the side that was disadvantaged so that they can have an equal say, equal representation, equal weight in this particular matter. In this particular context, what we're looking at is people or groups that are socioeconomically disadvantaged, which means that when it comes to the social spaces, the class systems, the cultural systems, as well as within the economy, so where it hits hardest in the pocket, these are disadvantaged people. So then minorities, the underprivileged, those are the people that affirmative action aims to empower. So affirmative action is a means of empowerment. And we have looked at why it exists when you realize that there is imbalance that is creating a situation that is not an ideal. It's not building or moving towards what you want to see for your society. Then you decide to intentionally take action that ensures that the skills are balanced. Now, the 2/3 gender rule is affirmative action because, again, with the example that we've given of our Kenyan history, women have been playing roles in this country. However, they have been underrepresented. They have been they have been deplatformed or have been denied platform historically. And so the 2/3 gender rule was something that was introduced as a means to balance out the scales and give women an equal chance of representation and platform for whatever matters pertain to society. That if we're saying that women are good leaders, if we're saying that women have a voice and need representation, and we see women fit to represent society in the same way that we understand that men are leaders, then we need this affirmative action. So wherever it is that you're tuned in from, I would love for you to let me know if you believe affirmative action is relevant. So it doesn't need to be within the context of this 2/3 rule. It doesn't need to be within the context of gender equality. Affirmative action is what happens when you have policies that favor Black people that have been affected by racism in spaces where there's shared races, where different races share the same country in the West. Affirmative action happens when there's disparities economically within the social classes. So, these are poor people, these are rich people, to put it bluntly. Then you find structures of affirmative action. In South Africa, there's a affirmative action scheme that is called the BEE, the Black Black Economic Empowerment Scheme, which only empowers the underprivileged Black people because there was inequality. So before we even get into what is the 2/3 gender rule, I would like for you to let me know what you think about affirmative action, and also try to imagine now how this is being done in Kenya, because this is a conversation that we need to have. It's not a conversation that I can have by myself. And while we're doing that, we are going to jump right into Tabasamu Langu by Jay Blessing, Saint P, and Joanne Matata. So right after this, we're gonna continue this conversation.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
If I could turn back the hands of time, relieve every moment I spent with you, I'd still want you here. So tell me now, what happened to forever? What happened to the days? Oh, you said you'd leave me never. Now I'm in a daze. Why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to leave me now? Had so much to say. We had so much to do. Where went you? Tabasamu langu. Where went you? Ngome yangu. Where went you? Rafiki yangu. Where went you? Where went you? Time can never erase your face. No, 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 nothing can ever take your place. You are the fire deep inside of me. You are the strength that I need to succeed. You are the voice that speaks to me. Asante kwa uzuri wako. Asante kwa mafundisho yako. Yote uliyotenda yalikuwa mema, twakusujudu. Wewe ndiwe tabasamu langu. Wewe ndiwe ngome yangu. Wewe ndiwe rafiki yangu. Wewe ndiwe, wewe ndiwe. I'll never turn back the hands of time. So here's what I'll do. I'll make you proud. I'll make you smile. And do the things that you left behind. I wanna thank you for being my friend. For being us.
Ooh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Subira, shavuta heri, we kando yangu, tabasamu jule, siku yetu ya mapenzi, maisha kuishi na wewe hadi milele ndio raha kwangu, nimekweka mbele juu kabla kujuana, tulitongozana ikaingiana, tukashindwa kuachana. Ona leo hii you're in love with me. Kabla kujuana, tulitongozana, iliingiana, tuliomba sana. Ona
couple in town. Do see how? And I really broke down when I saw you walk in your wedding gown. Whoa, whoa. Kabla kujuana, tulitongozana, ikaingiana, tukashindwa kuachana. Ona leo hii, hey, you're in love with me. Kabla kujuana, tulitongozana, iliingiana, tuliomba sana. Ona leo hii, hey, we are meant to be for the rest of my life, for the rest of my life. I feel so lucky, Unami, for the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, for the rest of my life. I feel so happy, Unami, for the rest of my life. Oh, yelele mama, hey, yelele mama, yelele mama, hey, yelele mama, for the rest of my life. Yelele mama, yelele mama, yelele mama, yelele mama, for the rest of my life.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Power Radio truly is your only station, the most relevant station here in Kenya. We have impactful conversation, and here on Sheversations, we are amplifying female voices. So how we're hoping to do that today is by having a conversation on this very important Katiba week about the 2/3 gender rule. Right before this music break, we were talking about affirmative action. Now I'm going to go ahead and let you know what, where in the Constitution of Kenya, as per 2010, what it says about affirmative action, because we just got the definition. So it says that the state shall not discriminate directly or indirectly against any person on any ground, including race, sex, pregnancy, marital status, health status, ethnic or social origin, color, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture, dress, language, or birth. So as you have seen, those are most of the pillars that form our identities, our value systems. And this is the basis of the 2/3 gender rule, that we are not supposed to discriminate on the basis of any of this aforementioned values. And so this is what the 2/3 gender rule is. So it is elaborated in Article 27.8 and 8. It's Article 27, Section 8, and then Section B of that section says that the state shall take legislative and other measures to implement the principle that not more than 2/3 of the members of elective and appointive bodies shall be of the same gender. And then Article 81, Section B adds that the electoral system shall comply with, amongst others, the principle that no more than 2/3 of the members of elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. So this is according to our Kenyan Constitution. And if you'd like an elaboration of that, you can find this on the Kenya Law website, where everything has been broken down to explain bit by bit what we're saying. So what does this mean? The 2/3 gender rule mean that if there's monkeys and we have apes, and we need to represent ourselves in the society of monkeys and apes, at no point should there be more than 2/3 monkeys or 2/3 apes. So it doesn't matter It is not specified. It's not specified if the bigger portion should be monkeys or the bigger section should be apes. However, once you have reached 2/3 of the same kind of creature, then there is no more space. There is no more allocation, no more allowance for that same gender. Now the rest explicitly have been set out for the other gender. So why does this exist? Why does a 2/3 gender exist? We already talked about affirmative action and why affirmative action has, or rather why it is important, why it has been practiced over time. And our question for you as you respond and chime in on this conversation is if you think affirmative action is important. But the reason why the 2/3 gender rule exists is so that the marginalized gender, which is women, in representation. And you just need to, go out there and do your research and see how many women generally have participated politically in terms of the seats that the votes that you've been giving, the representation that you have in your particular area before the 2010 constitution. Then you need to find out how many of those positions had women. So the reason why this exists is to make sure that it was to favor the women, and not to favor the women at the expense of men, but to have representation where if there are women who are equally as qualified because of our culture, because of where we're coming from, then they would have the same opportunity to win or fail at the same level as men. Now, something interesting about the 2/3 gender rule is that there have been so many mixed opinions. And upon having these conversations on social media, the general consensus, or rather an overwhelming response is towards no. No, the 2/3 gender rule is not necessary. The 2/3 gender rule is not relevant. Women are doing a terrible job. And this is not my opinion. These are the opinions of a lot of our Kenyans on the interwebs. And I think it is now a cultural conversation where once we've created positions for women, we've created an allocation that at least 1/3 of the women in power in our structures, in parliament, in those positions are represented by women. So assuming that women are not in these other positions, if at all they don't make it to these other positions, then at least there's this allocation. And what has happened is that there has been a lot of accountability, heavy accountability towards the women. And what I have seen is a lot of women being taken out of these positions or being under heavy scrutiny. And I think that this is not a constitutional issue, legislative issue. This is more of a patriarchal issue. How do we choose our leaders, and what expectations do we place on them, and how do we hold them accountable? And I think that as much as when it comes to on paper, there are these allocations, then the conversation cannot end there in an African society, in a primarily patriarchal society. The conversation on gender representation cannot end on us creating a policy that is barely properly implemented. And then we say that, no, we have the rule in place, the policy is there, so the rest is up to the people. We need to have reflective conversations on, first of all, the Constitution by itself. Is it realistic, and is it something that we can implement? And then more specifically now, when it comes to something as cultural as leadership roles in gender, we are looking at how heavily patriarchal this country is. Do a lot of us actually trust women as our leaders? As much as most of us were raised primarily by women in our home spaces, do we actually believe that women belong in leadership spaces out there in parliament? Do we actually believe that women have a space in politics? And this might actually speak a lot. It might actually explain a lot of what we're seeing with the relationship this country has with women leaders, and vice versa, the relationship that these women leaders now have with this country, because there's certain expectations, and there's a lot of the time when you're expected to fail, you probably will. Now, I am not saying that then that means that when we apply affirmative action and we intentionally empower one certain gender, then we don't hold them accountable because they should be there regardless. No. If you're in those positions, you must be qualified. And if we're assuming that you're a qualified leader that has gotten there legally, has been voted into power, has been appointed into power, then we also have the right to hold you accountable according to those systems. And having those checks and balances are really, really important. And realizing how the checks and balances work out here in society off the paper is very much determined by the culture that we have. So the patriarchy, I would say, in my humble opinion, I might be wrong, but I would say that this is a very patriarchal matter because our society is very patriarchal. So as much as our constitution imesoma, it's a very brilliant constitution, but when it comes to implementing it in a society where conversations on the relationship we have with gender and leadership, if those conversations have not been properly ironed out, then it's going to be extremely hard because it's just going to be a conversation that will never be properly implemented. Because tell me why we rolled out our constitution in 2010 and we're still struggling to properly implement the 2/3 gender rule in 2024. It has been 14 years. Somebody's son and daughter has been born. They teethed. They have gone through puberty. They're probably in a position to create their own family. And we're still struggling to understand why we need to create roles for women and the opportunity to win and fail that they need to be given as a learning space, as a growing space, to understand that if we haven't had women in these positions culturally, then it's also going to take time. If we're waiting for the rest of our constitution to work, but a lot of it has worked faster, then why is it that the few women who make it into these positions and end up messing up, why is it that we don't give them the same opportunity, the same benefit of doubt, the same scale for failure that we do to their male counterparts? So this is a conversation that we're having. If something striking has been said that has tickled you, that has not sat with you the right way, or you just want to chime into the conversation, you want to let us know if you believe that affirmative action is relevant, then let us know at Power Radio. You can also at me on social media. I am at Caroline_Murote on Instagram. You can DM me over there. It's the same on Twitter, or you can call me personally, but you don't have my number. So as we continue to have this very impactful conversation, we are going to be listening to Holes by Njoki Karu, and hopefully when we come back, we are going to fix some of those holes.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Hold through the curtains, hold through my heart, then I patch them up. These holes in the curtains, holes in my heart, then I paint them black. Now they won't let the lights in. I got lost in translation, in between the lines, no one can read. I broke myself in the places I didn't ever think what could be. And maybe someday I'll be enough, not for anyone other than me. Oh, baby, one day I'll be enough for someone, and that someone is me.
Holes in the silence, holes in the chaos. How should I fix them up when I see holes in my wisdom, holes in my knowledge? How do I see the way when my eyes just won't open? See, I get lost in translation, in between the lines, no, I can't read. I break myself in the places I didn't ever think what could be. And maybe someday I'll be enough, not for anyone other than me. Oh, maybe one day I'll be enough for someone, and that someone is me. I still get lost in translation, in between the lines, no, I can't read. I still break myself in the places I didn't ever think would be good. And maybe someday I'll be loved, not for anyone other than me. Oh, maybe one day I'll be loved for someone, and not someone. I still get lost in translation, in between the lines, no one can read. I still break myself in the places I didn't ever think about could be. And maybe someday I'll be enough, not for anyone other than me. Oh, maybe one day I'll be enough for someone, and that someone is me. For someone, and that someone is me. For someone, and that someone is me. For someone, and that someone is me.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
It is 39 minutes past 12, or 21 minutes to 1, if you will. So far, we have come along nicely, and we are discussing the 2/3 gender role. So far, we've gone through affirmative action. We have seen what the law itself says in the Constitution, and we're asking ourselves, how far have we come? We've also highlighted the fact that this is a very cultural conversation. It's not necessarily just a matter of policy and looking at the the Constitution and what it lays out, that the Constitution can only be effective if it is something that can be applied within the cultural context. And we have seen that Kenya is a deeply patriarchal society, so the lens which we're using to view some of those laws pertaining to gender, pertaining to empowerment, really matter. And we need to be realistic about some of these things, to see the right way to have those conversations and see what the issue actually is. So do we need to look at how patriarchal the society is, and have a look at how to disintegrate some of these age-old systems that have been existed but are not necessarily serving us well right now. So what happened some time ago is that former Chief Justice C.J. Maraga wrote a letter to the president. And this is on September 2020, so COVID, September. And this was because Parliament had failed to enact the gender rule. And so what he was advising, as somebody who implements the law or advises on what should happen on behalf of the law to represent Kenyans and to safeguard our democracy, is that he advised the presidents to dissolve the parliament. And this is what he said. He basically quoted the rule. He basically quoted what it enacts. And then he said that to actualize, amongst other obligations, the two-thirds gender principle, Article 261, Section 1, read together with the fifth schedule to the Constitution, require, and I quote, Parliament to enact any legislation required by this Constitution to be enacted to govern a particular matter within 5 years of the rolling out of the Constitution. So this happened in 2010. 10 years later, this was 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, 10 years after the Constitution had already been rolled out and put into place, the two-thirds gender rule had not been actualized. So he actually recommended that parliament be dissolved, because what it means when a law that is in place is not being enacted by the lawmakers, then this means that they are not qualified legislators. It means that they are literally unconstitutional, that they are literally participating in criminal activity, because anything that is not within the Constitution, not allowed or should not be happening within the Constitution, is actually termed as illegal. So as far as our Chief Justice CJ Maraga, he saw Parliament to be unconstitutional and hence illegal. And so he said that given the 5 years, they were given 5 years, given the 5 years, that this had not happened all the way up to 2010, and then they were given 5 years. So I'm just gonna continue. Your Excellency, apprehensive that given that the time left, the 10th Parliament was not going to enact the legislation required to give effect to the two-thirds gender rule, the Attorney General sought. So that is a lot of legal talk. And then he recommended that the Constitution would envision a progressive realization of the two-thirds gender rule and directed Parliament to enact the requisite legislation by the 27th of August 2015. So essentially what happened here is that, okay, we've reflected on what's going on with our Constitution. We've realized that the needed affirmative action that is supposed to enable women to be represented and have the platforms that are necessary for them to make the relevant change in this country is just not happening. So what I recommend is either we dissolve this parliament, or we could give it an extra 5 years. So since 2015, where are we? Where are we now? We are in 2024, and that is 9 years later. So actually, no, I have said 10 years after the I have said 10 years after the Constitution was rolled out. No, that is the year that it was rolled out. It was rolled out in 2010, and 2020 is actually 10 years. Yes. Let me not confuse myself. So 2015 was the timeline given, and now we're in 2024. And the question that goes out to you, as we are still asking ourselves if affirmative action is relevant today, we're also asking, do we see the two-thirds gender rule being applied? So this was coming from the highest court, the highest position in terms of a judge and what he can say, and to the highest office in the country, to our president. And he said that, no, parliament either needs to be dissolved, or we actually need to make sure that this is happening. So recently, we have a president who addressed us. And this is according to Nation Africa. Let me see when this was, so we can have, this is the 8th of March 2024. And 2024, Ruto is saying that we need to make the two-thirds gender principle a reality. So 2010, we have our constitution, we have a two-thirds gender rule, which is outlined over there. 2020, 10 years later, our Chief Justice realizes that it has been completely disregarded and neglected. And he says that either we dissolve parliament, or we must make sure this has happened within the next 5 years. And now we have our president saying that if a man is running for president, the deputy president should be a woman. And he said that in 2024. Him having been a part of the government for the many years that we have known he has been in government, he is now starting to realize that, oh my goodness, my deputy president that I appointed is not a woman, and they probably should be. So now we're talking about 2027. If I have jumbled up those numbers, you're going to have to forgive me. There's a lot of numbers here. There's a lot of math. But what we're saying, the point is that Kenya has not actualized the 2/3 gender rule. The reason why we're saying it has not actualized the 2/3 gender rule is because we're not having realistic conversations about what kind of a culture we're having these policies under. Our politics are very patriarchal, which means that the female voice is yet to have relevance at the level which it should. So the conversation needs to reflect on the patriarchy and what systems allow the patriarchy to exist. We have put things on paper and we have women in parliament, but having women in those seats still does not qualify that our constitution is being, is being implemented correctly. Do you understand? So actually having women in those seats is not the answer. The 2/3 gender rule is supposed to have representation, yet the women are still not being represented because also the quality of women we have in the seats, considering the number, is also questionable, right? And this is in comparison to men because 2 weeks ago we had a conversation when we look at leadership and creating leadership spaces for women, why it is important to realize that if I started 20 years ago and you're starting today, it is not fair to judge us at the same scale. So I believe that that is the same question that we should have, is that what skills should we have? Are we saying that we need to have different skills for women in these leadership spaces? That if we have affirmative action, that is not necessarily saying that this number of women need to be in parliament, but necessarily creating an assurance that there's going to be a healthy balance where it is 2/3 versus 1/3, then also should we guide what this affirmative action is meant to achieve when it comes to the accountability systems? Do we need to put up better systems of implementing the equality and the empowerment that the 2010 Constitution was initially supposed to mandate? That is a question that we have. Let me know on all of our socials if affirmative action is relevant. What do you think about affirmative action? What have you learned so far? Have you learned anything new? Is there anything that you'd like to say? Do you have anything to say to our president, who seems surprised that we have not yet achieved the 2/3 gender role, despite him having been in the second highest office in parliament for a number of years before having the position that he has now? So these are questions that we're going to continue asking ourselves as we reflect on our constitution this Katiba week. And now we are going to have Slecky by Keithan.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Akashtuka kuhome na mimi lakini siwezi dedi tukibaki alone when you're calling my phone. I hope unajua siwezi slake it. Check it, shani washa videtly. Waiting for your text on my phone. Yes, you know I'm still checking. When you want to call me, it's amazing. Playing hard to get. Oh, if I get to you. Oh no, Nairobi kuna story. City love inaweza leta ngori. Everyone's got their guard up, I say. We all want somebody, but do we want to stay? Tonsils, the way that you sweet are coming my way. Tell me lockdown, utapata knockdown. Oh yeah. Aliruka hello, akashtuka kuona mimi, lakini siwezi dedi tukibaki alone when you're calling my phone. I hope unajua siwezi slake. Aliruka hello, akashtuka kuona mimi, lakini siwezi dedi tukibaki alone when you're calling my phone. I hope unajua siwezi slake.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Have you seen that girl? Seen that girl before? You can see it in her motions, yeah, she knows. Got a mind together, she can take it slow. Take it slow. If you ain't seen me lately, don't you worry, 'cause you see, I realized the secret to my worth. Whatever happens, I'll put me first. Put me first. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, oh hold up, let me explore ya. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, oh baby, I'd like to know ya. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, hold up, let me explore ya. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, yeah, baby, I'd like to know ya. Oh, why won't you buy me sometime that I wouldn't need back? Oh, you know there's moments I wish I could go back and tell you that, yeah. Tell you I need time to know you. Tell you I've been trying to show you how far this thing could go if we just hold space for love in a higher plane. I love you, by the way. See, we all bleed the same, yeah. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, oh hold up, let me explore ya. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, oh baby, I'd like to know ya. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, hold up, let me explore ya. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, yeah, baby, I'd like to know ya. Say now, put me on your level. We could be forever. Light the shines together, together. Hey now, you could be my neighbor. Only we can save us. Sister love forever, forever. Say now, put me on your level. We could be forever. Light the shines together, together. Hey now, you could be my neighbor. Only we can save us. Sister love forever, forever. Say now, put me on your level. We could be forever. Let the shines together, together.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Power Radio. The time is 6 minutes to 1. So this means that we have 6 minutes to put this topic to rest for this particular show. This is Sheversations. My name is Caroline Murote. If you're just joining us, we have strolled down what affirmative action is, how the 2/3 gender rule falls into affirmative action, what it actually says, what has actually been going on, what has gone wrong, what has gone right. Not a lot. And we just quoted our president on him saying that he would like to see a female deputy president despite him having, the power to choose his running mate. And just to hold account to that, this is what happened last year. Last year, he appointed 15 men cabinet secretaries and 7 women. This is according to the nation.africa. He appointed 51 principal secretaries and only 12 of them are women. So if you can calculate and tell me the percentage of what that looks like towards the 2/3 gender role, if it was just a conception that should be guiding us. And he said last year that he hopes to realize his gender agenda mission through the Office of Women Rights Agency Advisor. So in order for him to understand how to appoint the right number of women, he would need to go through the Women Rights Agency Advisor, which is interesting because that assistance was not needed while appointing 51 principal secretaries, of which only 12 of them were women, and appointing 15 cabinet secretaries, of which 7 were women. So for the cabinet secretaries, that was great. For the principal secretaries, a lot is desired, just leaves a lot to be desired. And what we have seen over and over again is admission. Sometimes when it is pushed, when it is forced, we see an admission of, this could be done better, and that's on me, and I'm hoping to do that. And then the next year we see it repeated. So we see last year what actually happened, and then this year, as recently as 2 months ago, he's saying that he would really love to see the 2/3 gender rule actualized in Kenya, despite having all of the authority to administer this change and to enforce this change as committedly as they have been enforcing our taxes and growing our economy. And I'm saying that while quoting, because growing our economy is, whose economy are we actually growing? So that has been our conversation. We never have enough time to have these conversations, but hopefully you have learned something. Hopefully you are inspired to pay more attention to what's going on and the role that you play in public participation conversations like this, and how they contribute towards us educating one another in these matters that actually really, really, really involve us, especially where representation is involved and how this affects society as a whole. So if we want to see an ideal society, a society that is doing the things that we wish were being done, then these conversations need to be had, and we need to participate so that when these laws are being put in place, we get a say and we can actually be the difference, especially now when it comes to choosing these leaders and enforcing the changes, the same way that we rejected the finance bill. Those conversations need to be had much, much earlier. So I hope that you've had a good time. I hope that we have educated ourselves. I hope that we have dug up on this topic a little bit. And we're just going to be discussing similar topics on Katiba Week because we love to be reflective here on Power Radio. And here on Sheversations, we are amplifying female voices. So as we continue to do that, we are going to send ourselves off to the beautiful sound of Elevate by Mohanji and Shani. So I have enjoyed this 2 hours having this we've barely exhausted this, but it's been really good. And I just want to wish you a beautiful week. So if your Monday has not started off well, be intentional with the Tuesday all the way up to Friday, or you could just decide to quit and end the week right here, right now. Do not quote me on this. This is your girl, Caroline Murote, and this is Power Radio.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
I call it Imani. wakifuata do nafuata umami. Kingdom ya Mungu, serikali nimeokoka, Yesu ndo jemedari.
Naangalia nyuma naona mkono wako, cheki mbele mi naona only favor yako. Worry is a thing of the past, keep it in the past. I wanna go on to the next, I'm off with the past. I'm all about Jesus and I don't take it lightly. I'm not of this world, no, I'm no longer like it. I'm now a resource, I know the real source. Always on toast, chukua kingdom, I need by force.
Man, I got pressures up in my life, but your love is amazing. Man, I got a lot going on right now, but your love is amazing. Make we just elevate, just smile on, make we elevate. Make we just elevate, just smile on, make we elevate.
Tangu day one, uko na designer. Keep me fine, fine, God unani minder. Baba on a good plan, trust you to hold my hand, my hand.
Shining is best, but it's better when you love him. I believe in Jesus, that's my faith, and I'm all in. Change to the call, come up Paul, nearly changed from Saul. Change my ways, and now I'm a new being of course. None like you, Baba. None could I ever reach you, Baba.